Libra.
Hello Libra, this is your April forecast for 2013, and this is going to be everything all about relationships this month for you. Now, all of those planets we spoke about last month was moving through your day-to-day routines, your habits, co-workers, and those things. Work, not necessarily career, but your job. So a lot of you had some surprises in regards to it, and but now it's like most of that has now moved into your 7th house of partnerships and one-on-one relationships. So the focus is going to be very strong. It's in the sign of Aries, and Aries is ruled by Mars. So you can feel like coming out of March here that your energy, your drives are going to be more point specific, directed onto your partner or from your partner. Mars is the ruler also of this sign, so that it's kind of like a double whammy energy that you'll be feeling. So you get that extra oomph and that extra power. We're going to see that Venus is going to meet up with Mars. So, you know, Venus and Mars together, they do the dance beautifully. So you can expect it also to be quite the romantic month. Or anything also of any issues between you and your partner or significant other may also come up this month and be the point of interest. So it is definitely a time to talk things through. Communication is so important, and balancing that communication and finding mutual grounds perhaps as well. And if you're thinking about starting a new partnership, this is the month to do so. I find it exciting too though, because all of these planets now have moved over your Uranus, and Uranus is that planet and energy of the unexpected. I love Uranus because it brings in change. It fling opens the doors, you know, it brings that moment of, oh my God, into our lives. And so unless you're really stuck, you know, in a reality of loving to live in the rut, I think you will love this Uranus energy coming into your life. So the Sun and the new moon and Venus and Mars have all passed through it earlier in the month. I'd say on the March side of the Aries forecast. And if you're listening to this video scope in March, well, okay, prepare, because it is coming and you will be getting it, Libras. So let's talk a little bit more about what it's going to do here. The Sun is in your 7th house. That's you, the I am energy, how you see yourself through the eyes of your partner, how you perceive that your partner is looking at you, what needs to be balanced, what needs to be initiated. Maybe you will find more of a drive to be the initiator this month, possibly so, and especially because Mars is there. Now the new moon is going to be there on the 10th, so this is the time of the year for you to plant that little mustard seed, so it can really grow into huge, humongous benefits for you down the road. And the focus and the mantra for you this month would be to focus it on relationships, how you would like to see that work for you in the future, what you want, what aspects of it you'd like to grow and see more of later on. This is the time to put it in there. Now you have Jupiter in your 9th house, and it's been there a couple of months now, you know, this last year actually. But now it's moving forward is what I wanted to say. And some of you are really reaching for education, because that's what the 9th house is all about. That higher learning, grasping for insights. And I see expansion there. Now there has been a square. Mercury came around, it squared it, so there might have been some upsets as far as some news that you received, some information that came across that might have just actually split you off from that path. But don't worry, because Jupiter is preparing something else for you to come in, which is equal or better, okay? So just stay aligned with that hope. Now also that Mercury is going to be moving direct, and it will be moving into Aries because it's still in your 6th house. It'll be moving into Aries on the 13th. You'll see how that will start picking up more the sense of clarity and how you communicate with your partner, because your mind has been all in this day-to-day routine, and perhaps that little upset that you could have got, that, you know, that message that came a little while ago. So your mind has been kind of thinking and going over it and trying to figure out why it happened, but you won't know before later. So just trust it and flow with it. Now, on the 14th, you'll have Venus moving into the sign of Taurus. That will be your 8th house. So now it's all about money and finding money. Some of you might be looking for grants, because this isn't money as far as like your own personal income. That's the 2nd house. The 8th house is more like, okay, do I go out and get a loan? Do I get a grant? Do I get a mortgage? Commissions, work for commission, those kind of things, royalties. So Venus rules money, so you're going to be all focused on how you can go and establish better credit. This is from the 14th throughout April into May. Mars is going to join there as well on the 20th, so that's going to give you even more so an oomph and a drive. So your research may start there around the 14th. By the 20th, you might have found some source that you actually want to connect with, you know, contact. You might go call that bank or that mortgage company on the 20th or thereafter. Good time for that. And then we have closer to the end of the month, 23rd and 24th, there's good news coming to you, and hopefully it could be a response on whatever requests you put out there. Let's hope so. It is a Jupiter response, news flash coming for you, and that's always a good thing. And then we have Venus and Pluto. Now you have Pluto in your 4th house for home, family, and roots. And Venus then ruling money coming from the 8th house. So somehow, I don't know, maybe some of you might be thinking of taking up a second mortgage, for example, and attach it to the home. If so, looks good for it. Then we have the eclipse on the 25th, and that will be in your 2nd house for your own personal income. Now, an eclipse, what is that? You know, a full moon is a full moon, but the eclipse has the power of 3 full moons altogether, so it's a super moon in your 2nd house for income. That can bring things to you, and it can also, as it's traditionally known for, eclipsing things out, throwing things out. So some of you might, depending on your own birth chart and what planets connect, you know, to this full moon, if it's harmonious, you can expect things to come in. If you have difficult aspects, depending on the degree, it's going to be at 5 degrees Scorpio. So if you have oppositions or squares to it, some of you might feel or experience that you're going to be eclipsed out of some source of income for a period. But don't despair. It's for a reason, and something else will be coming in instead. So that is pretty much what we have for this month. It is going to be just like January, February, and March has been very pinpointed specifically, like in looking down this one aspect or looking into one facet of the full diamond, because all the planets have been going together. But then they're going to start spreading out a little bit more, and we'll get back to more how things have been in the past. But there is a specific reason why we are all under this super sharp laser in our life, because we are all trying to create tremendous changes in a very short, limited portion of time. So make the most of it. Don't sleep away this precious time right now. And I wish you well, Libra, and I will see you again next month. Listen to your moon sign and your rising sign, and I'll see you next time.